Okay, so you know how some places just feel kind of heavy?
Yeah.
Bongar Fort, like tucked away in Rajasthan's Alwar district,
Okay.
near the Sariska Tiger Reserve in the Aravalli Hills.
Yeah.
That's definitely one of those places, right? It's famous, like legendary almost, for being like the most haunted fort in India.
And what's really interesting right off the bat is how the ASI, like the Archaeological Survey of India, they actually prohibit entry after sunset and before sunrise.
Wow. So it's not just like a local thing.
Nope. Straight up official rule. You gotta wonder why, right?
Totally. It takes it beyond spooky stories, you know? Like there's official concern here.
For sure.
So for this deep dive, we're not just after ghost stories. We want to really dig into our sources, like the history, the legends, all those eerie experiences people report at Bongar Fort.
Mm.
Figure out what makes it so infamous.
Right. Move past just calling it haunted, you know? Really try to understand all the layers of history and perception that made its reputation.
Okay, well, the story everyone talks about with Bongar is the legend of Singya and Princess Ratnavati. It's a total classic good versus evil kind of story.
Our sources talk about Princess Ratnavati and how incredibly beautiful she was, like famous across the whole region for it. And that's what drew the attention of this sorcerer named Singya.
But Singya wasn't just like an admirer, right?
No,
Like
no, he was a tantric, deep into occult stuff. And his thing for the princess got really messed up, turned into a dangerous obsession.
So the legend says he tried to use magic to control her.
Yeah, and it's pretty sneaky. Like he knew he couldn't just win her over normally, so he made this magical perfume.
Oh, wow.
The idea was if Ratnavati used it, boom, she'd be totally under his spell. It's a story about power and manipulation, really.
Absolutely. But the princess, thankfully she's smart in the story, figured out Singya's whole scheme.
And she didn't use the perfume.
No, threw the whole bottle at a huge stone nearby.
And that's where things go south for Singya. The perfume hits the stone, makes it roll, and it rolls right over him, crushes him, kills him. But before he dies, the legend says he puts this curse on the whole fort. Like, predicts it'll be totally abandoned, everyone in it will die.
So dramatic. And that curse, it kind of sets up everything else that happens. Our sources say it's connected to Bongar being abandoned,
Huh.
all those deaths and disappearances, right?
Totally. Like, the legend gives a reason for why it's so creepy and empty now.
Which brings us to all the paranormal activity that people report. The sources list so many spooky experiences, like classic haunted stuff, you know?
Right. And there are patterns too. Like one of the most common things is weird sounds at night. People hear footsteps in the empty hallways.
Not just any footsteps, though, right?
No. Lots of reports mention specific sounds, like the clinking of bangles. You picture those unseen women, right? And then there's the sound of weeping, like real sadness and tragedy.
Ooh, creepy.
Yeah. And besides sounds, people see things too. Lots of reports of shadowy figures moving around, quick glimpses that disappear.
And some people even feel something, right?
Yeah, like getting pushed or shoved by some invisible force. That's intense. Makes you think there's something active there, maybe even malevolent.
And then you have the disappearances. That's what makes it really ominous. The stories about people going into the fort and vanishing. Some tourists even say their friends were pulled away by something they couldn't see. Hard to prove, but it keeps coming up.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's the ASI ban. That's the big one. Like an official organization saying you can't go in at night. It makes it seem dangerous, you know.
Hmm.
Whether it's ghosts or something else, it makes you think.
Totally. Like the ASI might not say they believe in ghosts, but the ban makes those local beliefs seem more legit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We tend to trust authority, so it makes it harder to dismiss.
So to make it a bit more concrete, let's look at some of those individual stories. There's this one where someone tried to sneak into the fort at night, and they swear they were thrown back by an invisible force. That's a pretty intense experience.
Yeah, and you hear from photographers who think they captured weird shapes and figures in their pictures, things they can't explain. It's debatable, of course, but it all adds to the mystery.
And that story about the tourists hearing children laughing and crying, that one always gets me. Kids' voices in that empty, supposedly haunted place. It's so disturbing. And when they looked, no kids, obviously.
It's those personal stories, even though we can't verify them, that make the legend feel real. It makes the whole haunted fort thing more tangible, even if you're skeptical about ghosts. Individual experiences can build a collective belief.
Which brings us to the big question, right?
Yeah.
Is Bongar Fort actually haunted? That's what everyone wants to know.
It's the million-dollar question. But it's important to remember believing in ghosts is a personal thing. What one person sees as proof of a haunting, another might say it's natural, psychological, or just their imagination because of the fort's reputation, you know?
Totally. But no matter what you believe, the fact is you have this centuries-old legend of the curse. All the reports of paranormal activity, visual, auditory, even physical, and then the ASI saying no one's allowed in after dark. It all makes Bangar Fort the most haunted place in India, probably. And that reputation has a real impact, even economically, with all the tourists it draws.
Right. The stories and the official response have created this cultural phenomenon. People are scared and fascinated at the same time.
Yeah.
It attracts people who are into the supernatural, whether there's any truth to it or not. The mystery keeps itself alive, you know?
So we've gone through the dramatic story of the curse, looked at all the different kinds of spooky stuff people experience, even heard some of their personal accounts.
Yeah, and we talked about how the ASI restrictions actually contribute to the whole thing. It's this mix of the legend, the experiences, and the official acknowledgement of danger. That's what makes Bangar Fort so compelling and mysterious.
So now I want to ask you, the listener. You're here because you like to learn and get those aha moments, right? What about Bangar Fort intrigues you the most? Is it the curse, the specific types of paranormal activity, or maybe the ASI's ban? What really stuck with you?
That's a great question to think about, isn't it? You have these stories that have been around forever across generations, and then the ASI taking actual steps to restrict access. What do you think explains Bangar Fort's creepy reputation? Is it all just folklore and the power of suggestion in a remote historical place? Could it be something environmental or psychological we're missing? Or, and I know it's out there, could there be something truly unexplained happening there? It's a mystery that's worth pondering, for sure.
Definitely food for thought.
For sure.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time.